Right, so today I want to talk about how we can get legends like this onto the same level playing field as legends like this. So ultimately we're going to be going through every single legend class, every individual legend, what buffs or nerfs they do, just to make them all onto a nice fair level playing field. Because I like the way that Respawn's going at the minute. They're buffing a lot of things, and just instead of nerfing everything, everything's kind of getting buffed. There is a few things that I do think need getting nerfed, like the P2020s, but we're not going to cover that in this video. But what we're going to cover is specifically how the legends can all be kind of buffed or tweaked just slightly, maybe a couple of little nerfs here and there. Ballistic, and yeah, just see how we can get them all on a level player field and all feeling real super fresh and good. So we're going to start off with the Assault legends first. Now the Assault legend in general recently had a big buff not too long ago now, which was included some nice things. It included the grenade slot, where you can specifically carry 2 grenades that don't take up a room in your bag. It has the auto reload weapon, so basically the gold mag on every single weapon. Again, very, very cool. And also the breaking shields that gives increased reload speed, movement speed, and highlights enemies. Personally, not a fan of that last bit. That could go. I've never been a fan of anything that kind of gives you wall hacks or anything, so yeah, wipe that out. I think you're all good. But ultimately, some really, really good additions to the Assault legends. But the first legend we're going to cover is Bangalore, who personally I think is pretty much balanced. I mean, I used to main her a long time ago. I've kind of switched it up a little bit recently, but yeah, super fun legend to play. I still think she's really, really good. Her ult is just a nice little deterrent kind of thing. It covers you, or you can get a bit of distance between you and a squad, especially in ranked. Her smoke is really good for blocking line of vision. My only criticism is, what I would do is personally revert the smoke back to how it was, where you didn't see through it. I don't like the fact that you can see like a highlighted version of the legend that you're looking for hiding in the smoke. I think smoke should be there to cause a bit of confusion and cause a bit of cover. So yeah, personally, if you revert that change and put the smoke back to how it was, where it kind of did just hide you, I think that Bangalore would be on a very, very nice playing field with the rest of the legends. Like I say, she's still usable now, but I think just that little bit of a change could increase her like pick rate just a little bit more than it is currently. Next up we have Fuse, who personally I think is still one of those legends who's a little bit slept on. He's very similar to kind of Bloodhound in that any new like person coming into the game or trying to just get grips to things again, I think Fuse is a very good one to kind of pick up and just use, because his knuckle dusters are super useful just for ticking damage over time. Can get a cheeky little knock here and there. It applies pressure to squads from miles away, so you don't have to get stuck in much. Yeah, I think he's a good kind of pick legend, Fuse. You know, he's one of those who, if you're wanting a 4K on, he's really easy to get it on, and yeah, I like him. I think he's in a good spot. Personally, I wouldn't touch him. I think he's pretty much balanced as he is. Now we're going to move on to Maggie, because I think she's personally in a similar position to Fuse in that she's in a really good spot. I think it's super fun. When shotguns are like the meta, she just comes out of her like shell massively and becomes super useful. Like, unfortunately, P2020s are just kind of outshadowing everything else at the minute, and personally I think apart from the Eva 8, every other shotgun, and obviously the PK, which is in the care package, every other shotgun, so I'm talking Mastiff and Mozambiques, they're pretty poor at the minute and not worth really picking up over any other gun. So yeah, it's a bit tough on Maggie, seeing as the most use you get out of is with a shotgun. However, that being said, I think her abilities are really cool. I think they're super like kind of balanced. Again, the drill is similar to a Fuse like knuckle duster. It applies pressure, you can put it on from miles away, you can do it close if someone's hidden behind a door. And the ball, the amount of times I use the ball as an attacking option, not just to like use to get across ground, but just launching the ball at somebody is a super useful. I don't see too many people use it like that. But yeah, I like her. I think she's a good legend. Another one who I personally think is in a really good spot and doesn't really need any touching. Alright, so I'm going to move on to Ashe now, who has had a couple of nerfs recently, ever since her unbelievable change of kit and everything like that. Personally, I still think she needs nerfing just a little bit. I mean, in my opinion, I think the dash is fine. I don't have any issues with that whatsoever. I'd even bring back the dash out. Well, I won't bring it back how it was, but I think the dash is in a good spot now. But the tether, my god, the tether is annoying. Like, that thing just lasts too long. It's either the fact that you know what, you need to do one or two things for it, for me personally, to bring Ashe back down to a more level playing field, is it shouldn't do damage to you. So when it catches you that first time, I think it does like 20 damage, just take that away. If it catches you, it catches you, that's fine. Don't do the damage then. And also maybe just make it so that you could, I don't know, get out of it a bit easier. I think you can punch your way out. If you keep spamming punch, you kind of get out of the tether, but yeah, I think if you get rid of the damage, I wouldn't have that much of a problem to it. So yeah, do that, and then maybe she's probably back onto a level playing field, because she's still just a little bit too powerful, in my opinion, at the minute. And then last but not least, in the Assault Legend class, we have Ballistic, who, let's be honest, he is super powerful at the minute. I think he's the strongest legend in the game currently. It's weird because I wouldn't say he's in like a super, well, I don't know, he's bordering overpowered / very strong, right? I think he just needs a tweak to him just to turn him down a little bit, because currently, look, the ult is fine. Ult's in a fine place. I don't mind the speed boost and all the ammo and everything that you get from that. That's cool. I like it. I like the reload speed. That's fine. Ult, I don't see many people having a problem with that. The issue is, obviously, the Q, the whistle thing that he has. That thing is just way too powerful. And in my opinion, I don't like things, and I know a lot of people don't, that stop you using your guns on this game, right? And there's not many things that do stop you using your guns, but the whistle is one. So you have a choice. You either take the 20 damage, which you take initially from the whistle anyway. So you take 20 damage for the whistle. If you want to overheat, you take another 20 damage. If not, then you have to wait 8 seconds until you can fire your gun again. And then if you do overheat, obviously, that stops you from firing your gun. So yeah, you can tell I don't like Ballistic at the minute. Yeah, for me, in my opinion, what I would do is just get rid of the damage it does, the 40 damage in total. So get rid of the initial 20. If it hits you, again, something to Ashe's thing, it just hits you, alright? No damage to you whatsoever. And then the overheat, I don't know, maybe they could work it in that your gun fires slightly slower, or I don't know, maybe it does, maybe then it does the 20 damage to you. It's one or the other. I think it does no damage, hits you, and then it does 20 damage with your overheat, but doesn't stop you from firing your gun, or you just wipe out the firing gun thing, and I don't know, somehow get rid of the damage as well. It's a hard one to work, but that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see that it just does the 20 damage when you overheat, but you have the ability to shoot your gun still, and the 20 damage when it initially sticks you goes, and I think that would put him in a good spot. Moving on now to the skirmisher class, which is the most recent class to have the big overhaul and big changes. In my opinion, I'm not too fussed about much of the changes. I mean, you've got the sea care packages are still there. Okay, that's fine. It's just a kind of casual kind of thing that not many people use, I don't think, unless you're Pathfinder to get your ult back quicker. You get the speed boost for allies when they're further away from you, so similar to the Conduit thing. So yeah, okay, that's neat, that's pretty cool, I don't mind that. And then the charge knock ability, where you gain an additional, well, you gain your charge back for your Q and a HP regen and knock, which HP regen and knock is not too bad, but the charge knock, I mean, that's just basically what Pathfinder had originally. And again, I personally think it's probably only useful for Pathfinder. I know other legends will find it here and there useful, but majority of the time it's only going to be the Pathfinder mains that are going to get in the most out of that. And I love Pathfinder, but yeah, it feels like a bit of a rubbish thing to take away from him, that, and put on the class in general. Yeah, I think if you wanted to change that a little bit, I don't know what else you could add to the skirmisher one. Maybe something to do with like the ability just to open, I don't know, all supply bins or something, or they have a special supply bin themselves that gives them something. Yeah, not too sure on that one, how to buff it, the whole class as a general, but the ones that they have done, I just don't think they're good enough at the minute. So the first skirmisher legend I'm going to cover is Pathfinder. In my opinion, he still needs a bit of a buff. I'd like to see maybe the purple shield ability, where you get the 10-second cooldown to your grapple. I'd like to see that drop down to the blue shield personally, because I still think it's a bit harsh on his grapple, because no matter, I remember before, no matter if you hit a short grapple, then the cooldown wouldn't be the full 30 seconds. It might only be 10 seconds if you kind of like messed it up a little bit, and then it'd be 30 seconds if you hit a full grapple, you went flying kind of thing, which I think was fair, but they decided to nerf that anyway, which I didn't really like. And yeah, personally, I know they don't want to make him back to how he was or massively overpowered again, so I think a good trade-off would be dropping that that purple perk of the 10-second cooldown to his grapple down to the blue shield one, and then maybe give him an extra purple one, maybe something else to do with, I don't know, his zipline. So you have 2 zipline choices, that could be pretty cool. So either it goes even further, or you can do the no damage on zipline thing or something like that. That'd be a nice little like change to him. Up next we have Wraith, who again has had quite a few decent buffs recently. She's had the phase that makes it almost, you know, like season 1 Wraith again, right? So yeah, she's very good. I think again she's another one who's probably in a balanced spot. I wouldn't do too much more to her. I know a few more like well, pros are using her in, you know, pro play and a little bit in ranked, but yeah, personally, I think she'll never get back to them heights like she was in season like 1, 2, like release area, purely because I just think there's better legends to play now. I know people still kind of like her and stuff because she's got that tiny hitbox, but yeah, I think her abilities are all just a little bit, I don't know, average. I mean, a portal, yeah, it's good, you get to go far, but I mean, you're going to probably use Ashe's portal now, or you can even use Alter as a portal, which just works a lot quicker to get out of a situation. And then her phase, again, is a very greedy kind of perk in that it only works for her, which I guess most kind of skirmishers have that ability in somewhat, but yeah, I think she's in a really good spot. I just personally think there's just way too many better legends than her now, so yeah, I don't see any changes happening to her, and I think she's in a level playing field, unfortunately. Coming on to Octane, who, again, I think is similar to Wraith, and that he's fine. He's in a good spot. I don't think he's too strong. I don't think he's too weak. I think a good Octane player will get a good lot of use out of him. I think I like his abilities, his Q, his his stim. I like his jump pads, that you get 2 of them and stuff. Yeah, I think he's in a really, really good spot. I wouldn't do anything to Octane. I think he's perfectly fine. I think if you worry is if you do want to like buff him a little bit so he's got a bit more of a pick rate, because I don't see too many of them knocking around anymore, Octanes, but I think if you do buff him, it's just going to make him too powerful. So yeah, in a really good spot. I like how he is at the minute. Up next we have Revenant, who again had a recent buff to do with his pounds. I think it comes, you get to use it a lot quicker, and basically when you come out of it now, it almost feels like immediately that you have your weapon out, which is pretty cool. Again, he's in another spot where I think he's really good. I think if you buff him, then you're going to get into that horrible situation where he was when he first had his kit release, and he had that horrible, like, undestroyable shield with his ult. It was just so frustrating. I still see quite a lot of Revenants being played now, so yeah, he's clearly in a really good spot. I think he's, up there again with the Octanes and Wraith, and that he doesn't need any changes, and yeah, I like how he is. Yeah, no changes needed whatsoever with Revenant. Good spot for him. And then I'm going to sound like a broken record here, because I think Horizon is also in a good spot. Yeah, I think everything they did with her Q is good. She's still super, super usable. I think maybe her ult is just a little bit too weak. Ever since they got it so that friendly arc stars, well, your own arc stars could break your ult, that ruined the ult a little bit. So personally, I would maybe just revert that bit so that you could still throw arc stars at your ult, but just leave the ult at the point where, because it doesn't take many bullets to like destroy it, you know what I mean? One clip from one person destroys the ult pretty much. So if all 3 of you shooting at it, you can get away from an arc star that's being thrown at you. So yeah, maybe revert that change, but ultimately, yeah, I think she's in a really, really good spot as well. And then our final skirmisher is going to be Alter, who has obviously had the major changes and buffs recently, and yeah, I liked how she was before, but now she's even better, and she's good. She's not like ridiculously overpowered or anything like that. She's in a really, really good spot. They've brought her on par with basically every other like kind of skirmisher in this class. I think I like her Q. Her ult, I don't see many people do this, but you could put the 2 ults down and kind of play off them both. So if you put one quite far away, push into a fight and put it just outside the fight, if someone gets knocked, they can go back to that first ult, and then from that ult, go back to the very first one that you put miles away. So you have like 2 chances for your team to really get the hell out of there and get a res on you without someone following you through. So yeah, I don't see too many people do that, and it could be a nice little trick if someone gets it down right. But yeah, ultimately, like her before, I think she's in a really good spot as well. So yeah, overall, I'd say apart from maybe a couple of tweaks here and there to Pathfinder, but that might be just me being biased because I love Pathfinder. I think the skirmisher class is really good, and I think everyone in that like legend bracket of skirmisher is usable, and you're not going to get let down by legend. However, a legend class that you will get let down by is the Recon class. My god, that thing is desperate for a class buff. I mean, I know they tweaked it a little bit a long time ago, but yeah, it's got to be one of the most lowest picked like legend classes. I mean, every single one of them in here, every legend is just, yeah, in need of some love. Like, they are so down at the minute. I think personally for me, I know they've got a couple of buffs already, a couple of perks as a Recon class already, but I'd like to see maybe some kind of sonar thing added to them, right? So if you played a Recon class, in your map every 40 seconds or so it'd like pulse and it'd show like a red blotch on your map where all the teams are or something, or teams nearby, you know, within like a certain radius of you. It wouldn't show you exact positions like the little Doritos of where they're facing and stuff, but it'd just show like a red kind of mist on the map of roughly where they are. I think that'd be pretty useful, because then when you're a Recon clash, you could be like, oh, you know, every 40 seconds look at your map and be like, okay, we've got a team pretty close around this corner or something, or, you know, this area of the map, and you can make your way over there and start fighting. I think that could be a cool little addition. Like to see that being fetched in, but yeah, definitely needs some work, this class, 100%. So as for the individual legends and what we can do with them, let's start with Bloodhound, and it's a hard one with Bloodhound, because you don't want to bring back that Recon meta where Bloodhound and Seer kind of reign supreme, right? You don't want that to happen again. The problem is their abilities are all kind of wall hack abilities, right? So yeah, it's hard to hit that fine line between them being really powerful and just being rubbish, right? So yeah, maybe you could add something to his passive. I think, because I think his scans is fine, and I think his ult is fine as well, but his passive needs a bit of love, I think. Maybe you could have it so that the footprints, you know, when you're following squads, when you go into your ult and the kind of footprints pop up on the floor, maybe that comes as a passive, so you just start seeing footprints when you're, you know, when last 30 seconds on where that squad was, so you can hunt them down. Maybe that could be pretty cool. It'd be nice to find like rats and stuff in ranked as well, because you'd see the footprints on the floor. Maybe it's only if they've moved in like the last 30 seconds or something to try and balance that out. I'm not too sure, but yeah, maybe that's something you could add to him. And then maybe you could just add, I don't know, maybe his scan's just a little bit bigger, because it has a really long cooldown now, I think, so, which is fine. I don't want him to be scanning all the time. I'm liking the cooldown to be long, but maybe you could just make it so it's a wider range. You know, you get that perk that upgrades it, but maybe just stick that on him anyway, so that it's a larger radius, and that could bring him back into, you know, a bit of a pick for most teams. Up next, we have Krypto, who has gone through so many changes over his time, and I actually think he's probably the only one in this class that is in a really good spot. And when I mean really good, I mean he's in a good spot, right? He is a good legend. Unfortunately, he's just, in my opinion, he's just so boring to play. So boring. Nobody wants to, like, I know you're not meant to kind of sit in the drone with him or anything like that, but a lot of the time if you're in ranked, you're going to be sat in a drone just scouting out areas, and I just think that's just so boring. Who wants to do that, right? Yeah, like I say, I think he's okay. I wouldn't really change much about him. I think they've added enough to him that he's pretty good now, but it's just that he's a boring legend to play, I think, in my personal opinion. I think it's very hard, no matter what you do to him, to increase his pick rate in Apex Legends. So yeah, he's a difficult one, but yeah, unfortunately, I just think he's sat in that area of that he is a good legend, but he's just a boring good legend. Alright, up next we have Valkyrie, and let's be honest, right, Valkyrie needs her ult changing. It needs to be changed. It's just, ever since we've got balloons in the game, and I know they've got, I think they've had a slight reduction to how they spawn or something like that. I'm sure that was in one of the patch notes. I'm still finding them, you know what I mean? I still get them. I still don't need a Valkyrie to rotate out of an area, and I know they've reduced the height that they go and stuff, and they increase the height of Valkyrie, but it's just so pointless. Maybe, in my opinion, you could change it so that she has, I don't know, it's maybe not sounding ridiculous, but it's turned into like a mini Titan or something. I mean, she's the biggest legend linked as a, like, you know, a whole Titan kit on her, right? So maybe she could whip out, I don't know, something similar to like Sheila's like guns or something, or maybe it'd be a slow firing high 50 caliber like kind of rifle that does like really good damage, but you only get like, I don't know, 10 shots of it or 5 shots of it or something like that, but it comes back fairly quickly. I'd like to see something like that. Just sack off the ability to, not sack off the ability to fly, but, you know, get rid of that ult where you blast into the sky and you go into a skydive. Sack that off. Just get it so that she has something really cool to use, because if you change that, then ultimately she's in a good spot. Because I think the jetpack's cool. I think rockets are cool. Add in a big, massive cannon. My god, she'll be really, really fun to play again. And like I say, as long as you don't make the cannon too overpowered, or you just limit the amount of shots that she has, I think you're fine with her. And then up next, we have Seer, who sits with Bloodhound in that horrible kind of fine line spot between, you know, you got to tread carefully in that if you buff him, he's going to be too powerful, but he needs a buff, right? He's just got no love, this character, for a long time. And I'm not totally against that because I hate Seer. However, he does obviously need a buff just to make it so that some people start to play him a little bit more or make him playable. I was thinking maybe you could buff his ult in that it's either indestructible, so you couldn't destroy it, but it lasts a little bit shorter time maybe, or it has something like more HP and lasts longer, so it has more HP to destroy it. Maybe it takes like a clip and a half to destroy, but it lasts for like, I don't know, like 40-50 seconds instead of however long it lasts for now. I think it's like 30 seconds, 20 seconds, something like that. Or maybe you could have like a bit of a combo of the last two, so maybe you make it so that, I don't know, it has a wider radius or something like that, but has less HP so you can destroy it quicker, or maybe it's a smaller radius but it's indestructible, right? I don't know, maybe one of those things to kind of buff him just a little bit, because ultimately I think everything else about him, like his Q and stuff, I don't think you can touch that without it being way too powerful. So yeah, maybe that for me, to bring him back up to the pick rate. And then finally we have Vantage, who, let's be honest, who plays Vantage, who mains her, because she's just awful. I mean, I wouldn't say awful, but she's bad, right? Really bad. I think her sniper's in a good spot, I don't mind that, so the ult, that's perfectly fine. The issue for me is the little bird, okay? The little bird needs a buff, alright? And what I was thinking was that you could instantly jump to it, so as soon as you ping it out to the area that you want to go, if you just tap that button again, instead of her like fiddling about with her little thing on her arm and flying to it, you just fly to it immediately, you just go super quick. And you could even make it so that maybe one of her passives gives her 2 charges to it, so that you could like fly to it and ping off, and then ping it. If you ping it quick enough, you could fly to it again, so you get almost like a double jump, a little bit like Octane out of it. I personally don't think it'd make her overpowered or anything like that, purely because she's got quite a big hitbox and the rest of her kit's a bit like crap. I know the sniper's decent now, but you know, I still don't think many people play her, even if you buffed the bird like loads. But it's definitely a starting point in my opinion, and how to get her to yeah, a bit better. It'd make her more of a movement legend, and maybe that'll draw some more people in, especially if you could do some crazy stuff with the bird. Because I remember when she first came out, you could do like kind of tap strafes off the bird and stuff. So yeah, personally, I'd just bring that back, just to, yeah, bring her a bit of fun, bit of love to that legend, because she's in desperate need of it. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the support class, which we're not going to stay on too long for with this, because this was basically one of the first classes to get that brand new overhaul buff, and I think everything they did with that class was perfect, like giving them all kind of that fast heal ability and all that ability to regen your health as long as you don't take damage. That's great. I really like that. I think it's super cool for the support class, and yeah, the support class as an overhaul I think is just perfect how it is. I don't think it needs any changes in terms of that, but yeah, let's break that down into the individual legends and just see if we can do a little bit of love for some of them, because some of them are hurting pretty hard. And the first of those legends is Jibralta. Yeah, you don't see too many Jibs running around anymore, and again, I don't want him to get buffed to the point where we have that Jibralta kind of meta again, because it was, you know, we had that a long time ago. He's had his limelight, but he does need a buff. So I was thinking maybe you could buff his arm shield a little bit so it has a bit more health, or you could even make it so that his ult comes down just a little bit quicker, so when it rains down from the sky it's almost instant, right? He puts it down and then like a second and a half or 2 seconds later, boom, it's on top of you. Maybe something like that. Next we have Lifeline, who had that big rework, and she's another one who I think is in that fine line of being super strong / overpowered, okay? Because it's one of those where if you're not running her in ranked, then you're at a massive disadvantage. But it's hard to think of how to level her out just a little bit. I think her ult's pretty cool, I don't mind that. Maybe you get rid of the fast steals in there, and that the ult just kind of protects you, because it is a bit crazy that you can just pop a bat like as if you had a gold backpack, right? So yeah, maybe get rid of that healing capability and just make it a shield, you know, so it just protects you, that she puts down. Or maybe you could then look at potentially the Lifeline drone and reduce the, I don't know, the amount of time that it takes for that to come back or something, or the range of it to ping it to another teammate. Yeah, I don't want to make her seem useless or anything like that, but, you know, I think she's always one of those where no matter what, with that heal that she has where she can just reg you and continue to fight, I think that's always going to be so strong. So no matter what else you do to her, she's still going to be picked majority of the time, right? And she has a tiny hitbox as well, so yeah, personally, maybe look at that ult and just tone it down just a little bit, because yeah, she is bordering on that overpowered kind of status at the minute, specifically in ranked, and even in pubs it's annoying to come across her, to be honest. Okay, Mirage is another one who's just had a ton of buffs recently. I mean, tons and tons and tons. We all know why. It's because they've released his prestige skin, but he's been in need of it. I mean, I think they've added something extra to like a 6th decoy to his ult or something like that instead of 5. But yeah, I think he's in a really good spot personally. Again, he's one of those who he's a bit of a real kind of pub pick. Like, you wouldn't really pick him too much in ranked, just because a lot of his abilities, again, are fairly selfish, apart from the Invisi-Res, right? But, you know, he has the heal that makes him invisible. He has the decoy that only, well, he can see someone when they shoot it. He has his ult, which, you know, confuses the hell out of people, including his teammates. Let's be honest, you have a Mirage in your team, they pop your ult with you. There is so much stuff on your screen, you can't see what's going on. And so, yeah, I think, look, personally, he's in a good spot. I wouldn't change him. I think, yeah, he's not overpowered. He's not a crap pick. I think he's a good legend. And, yeah, I like where he's at as well. Up next, we have Loba. Again, I might show some bias here because I really, really like playing Loba. I think she's in a really good spot. I love everything they've done to her kit and changing it. I love the double bracelet thing. Personally, I'd bring back the shield regen back to how it was. I know they nerfed it recently so that when you throw it, and I think it's the last perk that you can pick now as well, right? When you throw it and come out, you only get the 1 bar heal instead of 2 bars. I bring it back to the 2 bars personally. I didn't think that was overpowered. I didn't see many people complaining about it. Not sure why they nerfed it, but they did. So yeah, I'd personally revert that, and I think she'd be back to a, I mean, she's in a really good spot anyway, but I think she'd just be in like a nice, really, really nice spot with that if you yeah, if you just reverted that change. And again, she'd be on that nice level playing field, which she pretty much is. But yeah, that would just make her pick a little bit more, I think. And up next we have Newcastle, who is just one of those legends that people sleep on, personally. I think he's in a really good spot. I know he had a bit of buffs and nerfs in recent years, and yeah, I think they found a nice little sweet spot with him now. I honestly think he is a legend that people are just sleeping on. If someone unbelievable picked him up and started making some crazy plays with him, I think more and more people would pick him. I just think, yeah, he's just underutilized in most squads. I think he's a really, really good pick for ranked. And like, yeah, even in pubs you can have fun with him. I really, really like playing Newcastle. When I played him in the Road to 4K, I had some real good fun with him. So yeah, really good spot. People need to start playing him more to realise just how good he is. So the last legend we have is Conduit, who, yeah, she came out, she was super, super powerful, but now she's lacking a little bit, and she's a bit useless in my opinion, specifically the Q. Yeah, I just think she needs a little bit of a change. Maybe you could swap some of her upgrades around. I think one of them grants an additional charge at the purple shield like upgrade. Maybe drop down to the blue, or just give it her anyway. It's just has 2 charges. A lot of legends have 2 of stuff now as a default. Yeah, maybe you could do something like that. Maybe you could even do it so that, I don't know, one of her upgrades, like the purple one that you'd then introduce, would be something where it not only charges like her teammate's shield, but then it actually replenishes your shield by like maybe 1 bar or 2 bars or something like that, instead of just giving you the kind of green like kind of charge that then eventually wears off. And I'd even potentially look at, I don't know, making her ult a bit better, or giving her an upgrade to her ult so it's a wider radius or something. Yeah, she just needs a little bit of tweaking to make, because no one's picking her, and like, I barely see any of them. I barely see everything Conduit ults anymore. I know, like I say, she was super powerful when she came out, but yeah, she needs a bit of love and a bit of a change. Like I say, if you mess around with your Q a little bit, I think you can find a sweet spot there to get her back to being picked again by people. And then last but not least, we have the controller legends, which are probably, in my opinion, some of the worst legends to play, just because I think most of their abilities, I mean, you know, the controller is basically like a defender legend, right? It's all about setting up, locking down, and that's not how I like to play. So yeah, personally, you know, I think these need a bit more, I don't know, something about them to make me want to play them more. I think as a like whole class in general, it's like missing one, because it only has the ring console and extra shield on zone perks. It's really missing like a 3rd perk like the rest of the classes have got. So I'd look at introducing something like an additional trap, or, you know, like wall or something that they can do. So yeah, basically increasing every single like legends the Q by 1, so you get an extra pylon with what's there, maybe an extra gas like trap with Caustic, an extra wall with Rampart, an extra like, you know, the gunk stuff that she puts down, Catalyst. Yeah, maybe doing something like that could just help them a little bit, because like I said, they're all about locking down zones and legends, and let's be honest, realistically, you're only going to pick these seriously in ranked to run around in pubs playing these legends. Apart from Watson, I think they're a little bit boring in my opinion. So yeah, I'll quickly kind of cover each individual legend here because I don't think there's too much to say about them. Yeah, like Caustic, he'd benefit from what I just said before about increasing his trap. Other than that, you know, you don't want to buff him too much because he was powerful at one point. The other thing I think he can really do is just mess around with the tick rate of the gas slightly. I mean, that is really all you can do with Caustic because his ability is all about that gas. So yeah, you either make the radius just a little bit bigger that comes out of the traps, or you increase that tick rate just up by 1 or 2 just to make it a little bit more deadly and make you not want to push into the room where a Caustic is. As for Watson, again, I think she'd kind of benefit from that extra pylon or something like that. I think, you know, her ult's in a pretty good spot. She's pretty, like, in my opinion, she's the best of all of these control legends, Watson, because she's got quite a good hitbox. Her pylons are quite good. You can make some really good plays with them, and her ult is really, really useful. And you know, you can still use the, you know, the things to get the ult back immediately. I can't remember what they're called now, the charge things. But yeah, I think the only thing you could potentially do to just give her a slight little buff and make her a bit more pickable, because I know there's a lot of Watson mains out there, but I'd personally like to see her receive a bit of love. She shouldn't be like touched at all for like a long time, to be fair, since they messed with her ult. So yeah, maybe you could do how she regenerates shields over time. You could increase that like kind of speed so that it comes back a bit quicker or it ticks up a bit quicker. Yeah, I'd play around with that, and I think that'd make her a lot more powerful, to be honest. Rampart is another one who I think needs a bit more love. I think although she'd like kind of get a good thing from the additional trap or something like that, I think personally need to look at Sheila. I know they made Sheila a lot better recently, but I still think she needs making even better. So maybe you could increase the movement speed when you have Sheila out, or you can make it quicker to get out or something like that. Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more of a buff with Rampart, because I still think she's one of those legends who, you know, you watch like game immersion and stuff and they kind of lock down that character and make them look super, super good, but yeah, I still think even he'd agree that she needs a bit of buff and a bit of a love with the buffs there, because yeah, she's lacking just a little bit of something, and if they tweaked Sheila a little bit, I think that could sort it out. And then finally with Catalyst, again, another one who was pretty strong when she came out with the wall and stuff. I feel like the wall is just not as good as what it used to be now, so yeah, maybe you could play around with that in that you can't, I don't know if this would make it too powerful, if you can't shoot through it. If it stopped bullets, would that make it too powerful? Maybe. I mean, maybe you could do that, but you could reduce the amount of time that it's up. So I think it only lasts, you know, it doesn't last long anymore anyway, like 10-15 seconds, maybe something like that. So even if you did reduce it to like 10 seconds, but you couldn't shoot through it, you know, that gives you enough time to kind of just move and just use it as like a movement tool to get across the map. That'd be pretty cool. I think maybe you could increase the amount of doors she could reinforce as well. I think what she can do 2, and then with an upgrade 3, maybe something like that. So if you could do 4, I mean, most buildings have 4, so it'd make it so you could really, really lock down a building with Catalyst, and that could be pretty something cool. Or maybe you could even do something where you could reinforce the windows or something, right? I don't know. Playing around just a little bit, but again, another one I think she's got to be one of the lowest picked legends, right? Nobody plays Catalyst, so yeah, definitely needs some work there, and yeah, maybe there's some ideas that could help her, but yeah, definitely needs a buff in my opinion. Alright, so I hope you just enjoyed me waffle on for the last like half an hour about how to buff these legends. Like I say, they're all in my opinion of just being like a normal Apex Legend player, like that plays, you know, just casually in this game. I think they tend to respawn, listen to what the pros want, and I get that. Alright, the pros are the ones that are joining a lot of the views and stuff when ALGS comes round, but yeah, they seem to just forget about us players that just like to play pubs or just like casual ranked, right? And yeah, they seem to ignore a lot of the kind of changes that I think maybe us guys suggest. But yeah, Let us know what you guys think. Let me know if you agree with any of those, or if you disagree with them. Let me know what you think we should do with these legends and how to bring them all into kind of a level playing field. Or if you don't even think they should be on a level playing field, should we have it so that it is just a meta legend game? I don't like that personally, but you know, it seems to have been that way in the past with Apex Legends. There's always a meta legend, right? And this is the only time that we've come close to having it pretty, you know, open for pickings, apart from kind of Ballistic, Ashe and Lifeline. I think, you know, it's getting close to being that kind of level playing field. Like I say, just a few buffs in my opinion. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.